Marcus, and today I'm going to be covering the newest Stephen King adaptation based on the 2013 book, I believe, Dr. Sleep. And this movie is directed by Mike Flanagan, who, if you don't remember, I mentioned in our Haunting of a Hill House video, you can see right here.
Fun fact, he's actually set to direct the adaptation of the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep.
Now, this movie stars Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, and breakout actress Kylie Curran. Now, the movie is basically a sequel to The Shining, taking place after the death of Jack Torrance and going on to the story of Danny Torrance and his story after finding a young girl named Abra who also contains the power of The Shining. Now, this story is, presented in the book, but it has its own take that Mike Flanagan had his own play on it. He plays with it, not a lot, not too much that it becomes sort of hard to read, but he plays it in a way that lives up to a Stephen King adaptation. And as far as where it falls into the Stephen King adaptation ranking system, this scores pretty high for me. I'm not gonna lie, because we always see the Stephen King adaptations of the past as being these cult favorites, like Creepshow, of course, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, but this is a new thing on its own. This is something completely new, where we're able to experience a Stephen King book of the next generation and experience a piece of cinema dedicated to it. Now, moving on to the acting was superb. Ewan McGregor brings a lot of the heart that came with Danny Torrance. You haven't seen him in so long, and when you finally see him, you feel like you picked up right where he left off. He gains a lot of the alcoholism that his father had during the original film, and you sort of feel that pain and that haunting that he gets from the Overlook and the Room 217. You get a lot of that horror just based on his performance. And this comes with a lot of the story that's presented in front of him. And then you have Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat, our antagonist, who is, oh gosh, any scene where her and her troupe, the True Knot, are in, it is borderline terrifying. You get a chill to your bone just thinking about it, just moving on from scenes. By the way, this movie is it doesn't pull any punches. You see people die in the worst way. You feel like you're there witnessing this overly complex way of pulling someone's soul out of their body, and it's terrifying. And the effects also pull towards that. The taking of the steam is something that was very represented in the book, and you get that feeling just from the effects. You immediately see what you saw in your head, if that makes any sense. What I'm basically trying to say is that the way the effects added to the story, it does not take away from it, whatever. And to me, this is the perfect type of adaptation, where it takes a story that's already pre-established, but it adds its own takes on it. It presents you this story in an original way. And like I said before, this is also a sequel to The Shining, a couple decades after the book and the movie came out. So you get a lot of fan service from this, and whenever you first step into the Overlook, you get that feeling that you did originally when you walked in, that eerie sense of evil. As soon as you walk in, you feel that weight on your shoulders, as if the ghosts are pushing you down and ready to haunt you one last time. So you get a lot of fan service, you get a lot of reset design. This movie takes you back to the Overlook. That's not a spoiler, it's in the book. Read books. Anyways, you get that feeling just because you're back in a place that you were before. And that's what this is. It's great fan service, but it also stands up on its own. One of the things about the scares in the movie is that there are not a lot of jump scares. If you're going in to just get jump scared the entire time, you're gonna be disappointed, because Stephen King has his own way of writing, his own way of horror, where it doesn't fall under what we think as horror. He brings back psychological horror, and that's what makes this movie great. That's what makes movies like this great, and especially with directors like Mike Flanagan, a pillar of horror film in this decade. You are excited for the future for horror movies. We've had this little stretch of jump scare horror movies from the late 1990s to the late 2010s. But I hope that this era is over. I hope that the age of jump scares is almost diminished, but still kept. But I wish that little bit of time is just thrown out of there, because this is the kind of horror that we like to see. This is the kind of horror that will leave you with chills. The kind of horror that will send you home and still wonder what is waiting for me in the closet or under the bed. And that's why I give this movie a 5 out of 5, because I don't know what else to say. This movie is just a perfect sense of horror in today's generation, and I appreciate it for it. Thank you for watching The College Cinephile. If you like what we do here, please hit that like button. If you really like what we do here, please hit that subscribe button and let us know what you thought down below. And also check out our other videos over there. Look at them all pretty like. And that's pretty much it for me this time. And since Anakin's not here to steal my line, I will see you later, Internet.
Did you do the outro?
Yeah, I did it. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you not paying attention, Isaiah? Do you
No,
not
I wasn't.
give me attention?
Reviews are trash.
You know, this is why.